We want to inform you that we expect to record statement from two members of parliament, that is Honorable Ssewanyana and Honorable Segirinya, who are expected to appear at CID headquarters for statement recording as the masterminds behind the vicious murders. We zeroed on them based on the admissions from the suspects, clearly indicating how they were recruited, taken through the intentionally designed plans in a meeting they held at Endeavour, and that was aimed at creating animosity against elderly victims in the selected districts. The suspects indicated to us how they were promised wealth as a motivating factor, and that it was under the command of, so far, the two politicians that their victims were hacked and beaten to death. As we continue, we also want to probably caution a bit the media fraternity. We are aware the murderous rampage in Masaka and Rwengo is of great news, but we urge you to report objectively. Some of you are sensationalizing these vicious murders and linking them to every form of attack involving use of machetes. Like some of you were reporting this incident in Chivwa, which was a traditional case of burglary, attempted burglary. Then also the other incident that was happening in Nakaseke. Now when you start linking these crimes of burglary without proof, it inspires copycat murders, and also it promotes unnecessary fear and panic in the public. Try very much as possible to conduct very thorough investigative journalism before you rush into promoting sensations in the media, which is not okay. So I want to thank our task team so far for the tremendous work on these important investigations. The arrests and persons charged to court on evidence shows our resolve to tackle all forms of senseless violence and impunity by enemies of this country. And we are not going to rest. We are going to ensure that we thoroughly dismantle the cells, the organized gangs of criminals in Masaka, Rwengo, and the other areas. So we want to emphasize that the attempted burglary in Chivwa was not linked to vicious murders in Greater Masaka. That recent video helped to capture thugs armed with pangas and house-breaking implements. And it was purely an attempted burglary. So far, the directorates of ICT and forensic services are analyzing the private footages, but we've also got good intelligence which shows where this gang operates from in the areas of Nansana and the areas of Katoke. So we already have information that we are already following. But we want to basically thank and upload one Kayemba Paul Sempija, the owner of the home in Chivwa, for installing these deterrent devices, because it is on record that wherever you have deterrent devices in your homes, in form of CCTV cameras, there are those who have dogs, there are those who have motion-activated security lights, there are people who have strong heavy doors and walls, alarms, and even people who live in a very strong neighborhood where the neighborhood watch is very well organized. All these help in sort of deterring these burglars, because in many cases they tend to avoid break-ins that are difficult. So when they hear a dog, when they hear an alarm go off and like that, you find that they tend to look for the next target, which is weak And we want to, at this point, encourage members of the public, homeowners, residents, to embrace such deterrent methods to avoid the trauma of going through losses of properties and so on and so forth. But the difficult part is that much as the alarm went off, Mr. Sempija didn't have the contacts of the nearest police unit. And we have always advised that now within the Greater Kampala, we have greater mobility in terms of these motorcycle squads. We have them at every division, at every station, that our response is improving. So if we want to again remind the public, always have the number of the nearest police unit. Like these people, we could have rounded them up. We could have rounded them up like we did in Nakaseke. There was very good coordination with the local leaders. We rounded up, we recovered the 2 guns, we got these other assailants. So it's always important that we have these contacts of the nearest police unit. And we also want to inform you that we have actually put in extra measures in places where we are investigating anonymous threats. It is becoming a habit, or we are registering an increase in the saturation of anonymous written threats to selected communities. In all those letters, the authors remain silent, but they have warned violence against selected members of the community, some local leaders, like LCs, NRM chairpersons, and even business persons. But of course, we do take these threats seriously, although in many cases, these anonymous written threats, some of them have ended up being unfounded threats and so on. But we know that there is no threat to public safety in some of the areas like Nansana, Kawempe, and these other places in Mityana. But so far, experts from the forensic services are working vigorously to determine the origin and validity of these threats, and we shall ensure that the persons who are responsible for sending the threatening letters are actually tracked down and arrested. So we are working so far with the community to escalate our security posture based on intelligence, and also doing a lot of community mobilization. The level of community mobilization that is in the Greater Masaka, Ruengo and Masaka has really improved